Right, we're going to be getting cracked on today, put tank on, etc, etc. But before we go there, we're now entering the 4th week of lockdown with this coronavirus carry on. So again, I want to give a big shout out to all the frontline workers, doctors, nurses, firemen, ambulance, police, you know, all the key workers, shops, cleaners, etc. Big thumbs up, keeping the country ticking over, putting themselves in danger, etc. But big thumbs up to them, they're doing good. So now, secondly, what I've done off camera on this is I took my plugs back out that I put in the last one. I've just the back like loose at the minute, and what I did is I sprayed some lube down the bores, turned the bike on, ignition on, and then pressed the starter button, and without the plugs being in, they were just in, like I put the old ones in the plug leads just so they can spark. Turned the bike over, you know, not just keep my finger on it, turn it over for so long, stop, let it rest for a few seconds, like, you know, like 30 seconds, and then do it again, just so the engine's turning over and it's pumping oil around the system. But basically I did it till the oil pressure light went off, the oil light, sorry, on the dash. So it's sort of semi primed. It's not, don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near properly around the system. It's got the oil filter to fill up, it's got the oil cooler to fill up, you know, it's just generally got to get it all properly around the system yet, but at least it's partially there already. So when I do eventually come to start it, it's going to have some oil so far round. And as I say, I sprayed some lube in the pots, because you've got to remember, because I've been dragging my feet with this project, I've not really, heart hasn't been 100% there with it, to be truthful. But it hasn't turned over for a long time, so it's been a good, must be, to be truthful, it must be coming up neck end of 18 months since this thing run. So I didn't want to just start turning it over with the dry pots, so I just sprayed a little bit of lube in, and whipped it over without any plugs in, so that it had no compression, as I say, just to feed the oil around a bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give these rocker covers and that a clean, proper with chrome cleaner and everything, because once I've put the tank on, there's parts of it I won't be able to get at. So I'll clean them first. I'll do that off camera obviously, but I'll clean them up first properly. What else was there? Oh, new plug leads have arrived. Now I'm not 100% sure I'm pronouncing this properly, but Moroso, something like that. Just 8mm leads, still black, with some white writing on, which makes it all better. But I'll get them put on eventually, but not yet. What I'm going to do, probably start the bike up, eventually start the bike up, but I'm just going to use the old plugs for the initial start up and just leave the leads on for now, because I put the smaller lead back on as well. Just with these electronic ignition jobs on the more modern, well no, it's not modern, but I'm hesitant to not have plugs in when I'm turning it over. There was a case a while back, a bike, sorry, that I was turning it over with no plugs in, actually damaged the electronic ignition. So ever since, I mean that was a lot of years ago as well, but ever since then I've always put plugs in to turn it over when the plugs aren't actually in the cylinder heads, just so that they can spark and not do any damage to the ignition system. So, but as I say, I'll leave the old leads on and the old plugs in for initial fire up, and then the lube I've sprayed in, if it wants to cack up the plugs, it doesn't matter, because once it's been running a little while, let it cool down, then change the plugs, put new leads on and everything. Not that it matters about the leads, but I'll just, as I say, I'll do it when it's been running. So, right, so I think I'll knock it off. in fact what I'll do when I knock it off, as I say, I'm going to clean these rocker covers, but I'll also disconnect all this dash. I'll double check all my wiring in here is all secure, and if it isn't, I'll put a cable tie here and there just to hold it in, because I don't want it to sort of come loose and sort of nip out and then vibrate against the inside of the tank, because it'll just rub through. You don't want bare wires rubbing through anywhere. So I'll give it all a double check on here, and when I come back we'll put the tank back on, and then we'll get the dash on, etc. I'll probably drop the bike down so that we're not working up here trying to fit the tank sort of thing. But yeah, so for now I'm just going to do some cleaning and some checking, take this dash off, and then I'll come back and we'll start fitting the tank on. Right, back soon. Right, I don't know how well this is going to show up, but I've cleaned, I can see sod all here, turn this screen round. I've cleaned the rocker covers, and as you'll see on here, on the horn, the coil cover and the oil tank, I decided to give them a quick clean while I was at it. Well, I say a quick clean. What I want to point out as well, what I do personally, this haziness you see on here isn't chrome cleaner. I've been over with the chrome cleaner and cleaned them off. I've also done the little chrome covers on the head bolts. What I then do, after I clean the chrome cleaner off, now I'm not trying to advertise anything here, I'm in no way, shape or form associated with BMW in any way at all. I mean, I've got 2 Volkswagens, that says it all. But what I do with my chrome is I use a BMW hard wax, and I wax all my chrome once I've polished it, that is. You let it go hazy so that it's sort of set. Now, to give you an example, I've used this stuff for years, and I got it with obviously a car that I bought a long time ago, and I've used it ever since. So I'm just going to knock you off this, not knock you off, I'm just going to take you off this tripod. Now, what you've got here is I'll just zoom out a bit, that's my Electroglide. Now, this Electroglide is 15 years old, and all the chrome on it, like on the rocker covers, I mean, it's filthy at the minute, it needs a good polish, but while I'm off and can't go out, I'm going to get it all polished up again. But all the chrome, everything on it, it's all original chrome, apart from a few bits that I've changed over the years that were black. But what I'm trying to say is, the bike itself is 15 years old, and I haven't had to change any of the chrome because it's gone rusty or out, because I look after it. So once you've got your hard wax on, just polish it off as normal, like any wax, but it leaves it like sparkling. I'll just turn this screen again. It leaves it sparkling, and it's dead easy to put on and take off. But it's hard wax, so it's like nanotechnology. It's almost like this ceramic coating, but it isn't a ceramic coating, I don't think. I don't think it is anyways. But it leaves it protected, so you can get water on it, dirt, you know, and it's not going to rust your chrome. So just get it all polished off, and as you can see, hopefully you can see on the camera, I don't know how well it's going to show up, as I say I'm looking at a little tiny screen, but as you can see there, that's a nice sparkly clean. Same with the coil cover, but it locks the surface with a hard wax, a hard coating should I say, that even on engine parts like the primary and the oil filter for instance, the cam cover, gearbox covers, on my Electroglide I've coated everything over the years with this same stuff. I've never had any issues with it hazing, or not hazing, crackling, you know, and leaving a shitty surface. But it doesn't half look after your chrome. and it's sort of a barrier against all weathers, because I mean not so much now, but I used to go out on bikes, especially if it was in like club, be out in all weathers on bike, and you clean it off, give it a quick wipe over, and it's as good as new. It's not fucking starting to rust. So I just thought I'd share that tip with you, because it has made a massive difference to my bikes over the years, and it really does protect your paint, not just your paintwork, but your chrome, you know, from all the adverse weather conditions that we have around the planet. And it's not a big job to put it on and take it back off. It's not like the old BMW years ago used to use a product called Diamond Bright, and it was a two-stage process of putting it on. I'm just going to block your view a sec because I need to get it to you. Yeah, it was a two-stage process. You had to put stage one on in a certain way, like I can't remember now, but whether it was swirl, I say swirl, I think you put the first coat on and you had to put it on like that, and then you had to polish that off, I think, if I remember rightly. But then you put stage two on, but stage two had to go on like that, and then you had to clean that off, and it was a bit of a pain in the arse. But this stuff, it's just a one process, and just bang it on, clean it off, let it go hazy, as I say, and then that's your chrome protected to a degree. You know, obviously we can only protect it so much, but as you can see there, everything comes up in a nice shine. So what I've done is obviously bits that are going to be hard to get at, like the rocker covers, top of the horn. I can't remember where the tank's going to come down to be truthful, but yeah, they're all polished and protected now with a coat of hard wax, and the heat from the engine doesn't seem to affect it. I've even done on the electric light, I even do the exhausts with it, and it never affects it. So yeah, just a handy little tip if you want to keep your chrome in good nick. So right, I'll knock you off again, I'm back soon. Right, I've decided, because I don't know where the tank's going to sit exactly, I can't remember without going looking at pictures, but I'm going to change my plug leads, because I need to cut these and put new cable ties on here that had the front plug lead in. So I'm just going to nip these cable ties off. Bit of an awkward one to get on, and obviously I'll just unplug these, unplug that one, just lift that out of the way for a second. Oop. And then just feed that through. Now this sort of conduit cover there, that's split, so you can just take it off. So what I'll do is I'll take that off and I'll cut a shorter piece off it so it just sticks out of either side of there, and then I'll cable tie that back on. I'll wrap it around the new one and cable tie it back on. So I'll just have a bit of a way up of what I actually want here. Right, so I've cut that a bit shorter so that when the wire's through the bracket, it's still going to be protected by that bit of conduit. So I'll just grab the new lead. And this conduit stuff, just obviously the same way it came off, you just open it up and push the new lead into it. It says here. stiff stuff, which is good. Right, so they're about there. I want it to be able to plug into the bottom one. Right, we'll feed this one through the bracket, just lift that up out the way. Plug it in at this end. That's in properly. Right, just lift that up out the way a sec. I want that conduit stuff to turn slightly. I don't want the whole lead to turn. I'm just messing about at the minute, getting the conduit where I want it. So I've got a bit of slack at this side, just a bit too far there, and that should be spot on at that. So, cable tie in. I don't know if these were originally cable tied on from the factory or whether there's some bracket on. I won't tighten them yet. There's a wire there as well, which I don't know. No, it wasn't. Right, looks about right to me. So I'll put a bit of pressure on them. Now, I've squeezed them up tight because I don't want it rubbing backwards and forwards. It'll just wear a groove in it. So we'll snip the top of that off. And we'll get the other lead for the rear. Right, and that'll pull itself into shape. So that's the plug leads, the new plug leads fitted. It's looking a bit untied. This should be alright. They'll settle in anyways. But yeah, now I'm going to put the tank on. So I'm going to knock you off, move you to a position where you can see better, and then I'll come back. Right, tank can go on now. I've checked the wiring. I've checked the wiring both sides, and there's an out to foul up that's going to fall out. It's all secure in there, so safe to put the tank on. I've slung the wiring over the front yoke that's going to come up the front of the tank, but you've got a wire here, a little tiny clip, and that's for your fuel level. So that one's just hanging down there at the minute. So we'll get the tank on. The tank's filthy at the minute as well. Needs a proper clean. Now, before I put that on, there'll still be remnants. Not much, but there'll still be some remnants of petrol in the tank. So I've got some shop rag, some blue rag. Just put that over the front, so if anything drips off, it's going to land and soak into that. So let's get the tank sort of over the bike. I'll just set it on that stud at the back, and then what I'll try and do, I'm on the wrong side really, is the rubber, what do you call it, fuel level. Right, get that back off the back and then slide it down. Make sure it's not catching on everything. Push it forward, push it down, it'll drop into, there we go. Right, I'm just going to nip round the other side. I seem to have lost the filler, the level pipe. So I'll just lift that back up. Pull that fucking bastard down. Come on, you dick. I should have been on this side when I put it on actually. Right, so just right, we'll start that again. But this time I'll have that out the way. Right, so something's catching. So now, carry on, push it in place, push it forward, and what I'm going to do before anything leaks, because luckily there's no come out of there, I'm just going to temporarily push that on, just lift it to the side, so get a bit of leverage on it, says he. I'm just going to block your view for a second. Right, that's that pushed. And there was a little drip come out of it. Right, I now need to lift the back of the tank because I need to connect the wire underneath here. So I'll just find something to chock it up with. I usually use a big socket. Right, just lift the back of the tank up and just rest that on a socket for a minute and then get down here, find that little wire which is just here, and then you've got the wire off the tank itself, push the connector together and then that can quite happily go back up under there. Take the socket back out. And then settle it back down. So that's the tank sat sort of in place. So if I can find the, oh it's here. Let's see, I couldn't find the bolt. Just do a runner. Right, where the hell have I put that? Oh, I see you right. Right, I've got the mounting bolt which I'm going to shove through from this side. So let's go. So that's the tank just sat at the minute. I could sort of push that up in place if I wanted to. I think I will. That's that on. So I've just clipped the fuel line in place. Now up here, which you won't be able to see, I'll tell you what, I'm going to move you. I'm going to knock you off and move you for a second. Back in a sec. Right, hopefully you'll be able to see this. This is a vent off the tank, and remember there was this pipe. So just get that pushed back in place. Untangled from the, that's better, from the throttle cable. Right, so that's your vent back in place. So now I've got a horrible fuel, I know you can't see it at the minute, but there's a horrible fuel cap on here. So I've got that to take off and replace. I've got a new one for it. Right, just for now, I'm just going to knock you off again, get you set up in a different spot. We'll be back in a minute. Right, bring your cable over, your wiring. Comes up underneath the dash. But first, plug fuel pump in. That's one lead in. And then you need to get your dash and start plugging all the dash back in. So I'll just grab the dash wherever she's gone. There it is. Oh. In fact, I'm going to knock you off. I need to put some stuff on the tank. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Right, I've just put a rag on the tank, and it's just so I can sit this onto the tank without scratching it so much. And what I need to do now is sort out what... Right, back again. Lost the battery again. These, I think I might have to get some new batteries for this thing. It doesn't seem to be lasting too long on a battery. Right, so one of these plugs into there, which is this one, and plugs can only go in one way. It's got a line there, like a raised bit, and two on that side. So you've got your two slots and one slot, so it can only go in one way. Plug that in, that's for the dash. Then we've got the main ignition that goes onto the ignition switch. So plug that in. And then we've got this one here, which sliding away on that, which plugs into the clocks. Just make sure I get it the right way around. So that just pushes in, clicks into the clocks, and then that just leaves us with this. Come on, you arse. Yeah, this just leaves us with the little reset button to put back in. So you just unscrew the reset button, put it, screw the nail bit back on, nice and tight, and then put your little plastic cover back, rubber boot cover on. I'll sort that properly when I get the dash on. Now once you've got to that stage, it's just a case of everything fitting up underneath the dash and sitting in position, but it's there's a lot of wiring under here that's actually a pain in the shitter. Just got to position everything right so it'll all lay down without poking out from underneath. Right, might have to get at this from the other side. Right, I'm going to knock you off for a minute. I'm going to just rearrange the wiring in here so it sits properly underneath. So I'll be back soon. Right, I've got the wiring sorted out underneath, so it's sitting all tucked up in there like it's meant to, and it is honestly a pain in the arse. Because you get it all in, you think great, lay it down, everything pops out the sides, but it's in place now. I've put the front screw in so far, it's not tight yet, and we're going to put the back ones in, which will then pull the dash down. So basically just get everything lined up so I can get on the hole. Screw them down, not tight yet. As I say, not tight yet, and obviously at some point I've got these rubber things are a pain in the arse as well. They never fucking stay on properly. But there's a bit on the front edge that keeps pulling itself off. I might just put a dab of glue in that just to hold it on. But basically, once you've got your screws in and not tight, that's when you want to be looking at. There's always telltale marks on the dash, sorry, on the tank, as to where these things sat. Oh, what I've also done is I've put the rubber boot on properly on that and tightened it up. So, right, that's looking alright at the back. Just make sure it's right at the front. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll nip it down at the front. So that's tight at the front, and then basically screw it down at the back, and it pulls the whole sort of dash down onto the tank. So that's tight, there's no gaps, it's in line sort of thing. I'll just double check that from the back, make sure it's not sitting skew with. Yeah, it all seems to be spot on at the back. There's the usual little piece there that won't sit on properly. I fucking hate them rubber things, but you've got to have them, otherwise you fucking dig your paint off your tank. So I think the next step is I'm going to get a clip on, I don't know what you can see here, I'll move you obviously when I do this, but on this like the transfer pipe where it levels the fuel from one side of the tank to the other, I've got like a Jubilee clip to go on there, so I'll get that put on. I can take that out now. Tank obviously needs a polish, the chrome on there. I'm putting a different filler cap on, like I've got a new plain chrome one. Give all this a clean up, etc. And then I think we'll get the plugs, the old plugs put in, plug leads on, like onto the plugs, put some petrol in it, and it might be time to give her a quick run. So, right, I'll just knock it off for a minute and get a Jubilee clip out. I'll move it up front at tank so you can see what I'm on with, and then I'll be back. Right, what I just quickly did off camera was I got the Jubilee clip on and in place, but I haven't tightened it up yet. So I'll just this is a pain in the ass. The little ratchet that I'm using, it's got like a plastic casing around it, and the plastic casing's broken and it keeps catching on the rocker cover bolt. Right, so that's tight. So I now need to put this nut and washer on and get that tightened up. blocking your view at the minute. I'll just zoom out a little bit. So I can find what I've done with me driver over here. Right, I'll try and do this without getting my heat in the way. That's the wrong size spanner, I think. Yep. Just not organised at all by the looks of it at the minute. There's the correct size spanner. Right, spanner up to the side to hold the nut. Right, and that's that off. So the next thing is to put some plugs in it. So what I'll do is I'll knock you off, get plugs in, I'll put some fuel in it, and then we'll go for a start up. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, done the plugs. I've done my usual, fired the bike up, let it run for 10 seconds, knocked it off, waited a little while, let it run for like, start it up again, run it for 15 seconds, knock it off, and then run it again for like 15-20 seconds and knock it off, just to get oil circulated round. But now I'll fire it up so you can hear what she sounds like. And while I do this, I'll probably come behind the camera because I want to make a little video on my phone as well, just to send to my mate. So, right, pump priming itself up. So as you heard, runs, sounds fit enough, running smooth, no horrible noises. So, right, for now, that's it. I'll be back soon. Oh, just a quickie. My brake fluid's turned up as well. So, I don't know whether it'll be the next video, probably will be. But I'll be bleeding the brakes up with this new vacuum bleeder thing. So we'll sort that next time anyways. Right, catch you next time.